Hey, welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request from Aaron. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. PayPal, Cash App, best ways to do it. To be, again, review, re-review, thought streams, commentaries, stuff like this, rankings, random thoughts, movie news, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, whatever the case may be, and I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. So, again, thank you for that. So, Aaron wanted me to do a Star Wars ranking, but I figure this would at least get a bit more of a visual for that. And I picked a tier list. Now, it had this stuff on here, like TV shows, and that's a movie. I didn't see them. So we have classic, solid, sucks, worse than dog shit, and worse than AIDS. I put these in here. This is my version of a tier list. And I know Mandalorian is a TV show, but I just left it in there because that's the other Star Wars thing I've seen. At least the first 2 seasons. Didn't see season 3. Was never requested or anything. I didn't see Book of Boba Fett or the Bad Batch or that, what was that new one with the kids? I was never requested any of those, so I didn't see them. Now, let's get the first Star Wars. That's easily the top. That is my favorite Star Wars film. A New Hope, but I call it Star Wars. I remember watching it on VHS tape when it was just called Star Wars, that original version. And I've always liked the film. Now, would I say is in my top 100 favorite films of all time? No. Is it a film I rewatch a lot? No. Because I watched a lot when I was a kid, so it's kind of stuck in the memory bank for that. I would say I liked most of the first 6 Star Trek films more than Star Wars. I would say the Kirk, Spock, McCoy, that era of Star Trek, the TV show and the movies, I like that more than Star Wars because I like the Star Trek characters more. Captain Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Sulu. I like those characters more. Well, I mean, I like Han Solo more than Sulu. I like Luke Skywalker more than Sulu. But I just mean like the whole group. I like those more. And the movies, I would say at least, I actually like the motion picture. Maybe other than 5. I mean, I don't mind 5. Anyway, I'm going on a Star Trek thing. That era of Star Trek, I'm more into the Star Wars, but I still like Star Wars. Star Wars is still a classic. A boy, a girl in a galaxy far, far away. The classic music by John Williams. The simple, straightforward, but solid structure of the story in terms of you have the incident at the beginning. You have the 2 characters that we follow through the trilogy of those movies. You have the farmer boy who thinks he's destined for better things. Guy who's kind of thrust into a situation that proves his heroic aspects. Han Solo, fun, cool, funny, badass character. Princess Leia, who could hold her own. Darth Vader, such a great look. Wonderful voice by James Earl Jones. Intimidating. You had great actors like Alec Guinness and Peter Cushing. Special effects that were state-of-the-art at the time and still looked really cool, model work. That's why I actually prefer. I don't have the despecialized editions. I know you could get it unofficially with features, but they're just always too spendy for me. And for a film that I don't know. I could find it to watch online if I need to watch it again. Would I like to own that physically one day? Sure, but if I don't, no tears are going to be shed or anything. But I mean, Star Wars, it's a classic. And I think the reason that's my favorite Star Wars, it's simplicity, which is a great novelty. It didn't overcomplicate itself. It's that storybook fantasy. A boy going to save the princess. You got the cool guy with you, and there's the big bad guy, and you have the wise mentor, wizard, or in this case, Jedi. And, the Death Star, and the laser battles, and when they're trying to rescue the princess, and the time in the music. Good shot, kid. Let's go home. And just a lot of simple classic moments. And it works as a wonder, which they had to because they didn't know if they would get sequels. I think George Lucas wanted sequels, but he didn't know if he would get that far. Because what if something happened, it didn't work. So, granted, while Darth Vader's still out there, they did a big win. They killed the big weapon. These characters are together. They're celebrating with the medals, and there you go. So Star Wars is a classic. Empire Strikes Back, I'm going to put this in the solid. Because I do think it's a good movie. Sometimes I think it's a tad overrated. I do. Han Solo, I mean, the cast do a solid job. The effects are really cool to see. Great addition of Yoda, who's not a goofball, which they made him in the fucking Last Jedi for some reason. He was playing up an at because he didn't want Luke to think, what, this guy ain't a Jedi Master? Because he wanted to see how Luke would treat him if he didn't know who he was. And then once he finally dropped that persona, he was very serious. Billy D. Williams, great to see him in there. Good action set pieces, the stuff on Hoth. The walkers and tripping them up, the flight through the asteroid belt, the lightsaber duel between Luke and Vader, the moment, I am your father. Definitely a lot of important elements there. I get why for the story, of course, but I always thought it was kind of a shame that Luke and Han Solo, I liked them as a team in the first movie. They're never together in this movie. And I get it. Luke has his own story, training with Yoda. Han and Leia have their story, the asteroid belt and Cloud City. They're doing their separate things, but I missed seeing them together. And the only time him and Leia is at the very, very end. Him and Han Solo have no scene. So that was, I get it why for the story, but it's just one of those things, Also, it's one of those weird things where it's in the middle, so it ends on a cliffhanger, and then the beginning, because it's the middle, thus we're right in the middle of the action and things are going on. It's just one of those things where I like the movie. I do think it's good. But it's one of those that if I watch it, I have to watch the first and the third along with it. Because it doesn't have a true beginning, a true ending type of, it's in that middle section, so it's the middle paragraph of the story. It's I gotta watch the first and the last part of the story because the ending's not going to be satisfying. Because I gotta watch Return of the Jedi for it, and I gotta watch the first one. It's just one of those weird things. I know it doesn't make sense, so sorry, but I still do like the film. Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I will put it here, but I do actually like it more than Empire Strikes Back, which I know is blasphemy for people. What can I say? I'm a Return of the Jedi baby. I was born on May 25th, 1983, when Return of the Jedi came out. And I do really like Return of the Jedi. I liked the whole opening with Jabba the Hutt and his palace, and Luke being a badass, and the look and the lightsaber, and other than a duel with Vader, think about it, that's the only scene of the 3 movies you did a lightsaber action that's not a duel with Vader. Just the first one, Obi-Wan, Vader. Well, unless you want to count Obi-Wan cutting the guy's arm off. But like extensive. Obi versus Vader, Luke versus Vader, Luke versus Vader, the rematch. That's the only time you get it. And we get to see what a lightsaber could do, and it's bouncing it, and he's slashing this one and slashing this one, and jumping over here, and shoot the deck, and Leia's choking out the motherfucking Jabba the Hutt, and Boba Fett, which at this point, people barely knew who the fuck Boba Fett was. Billy D. Williams helping out. Before all that, the Sarlacc pit, dealing with that creature. Not the Sarlacc, that's the other thing. The big creature in the pit. Not Sarlacc, that's the other thing. I forget what the fuck that creature is called now. Where Luke is able to throw and crush the thing. Thought that was some good makeup effects, and Jabba the Hutt, really, I do like the design of that villain. Along with the other creatures. I mean, like the design of the bounty hunter mask that Leia has. But yeah, that whole opening, I think, is really exciting. It's a good, 30 minutes of the movie or so? So it's a good chunk of it. And you get to see the characters together, granted for a short amount of time, but it's still nice. It's more than in the Empire Strikes Back. But it's nice to see them together on screen. Luke and Han Solo and that stuff. The middle portion is kind of there. That's why I can't put it in classic, because I don't mind the Ewoks like other people do, but I get it. But it does feel a bit more cutesy. It's C-3PO, they think he's a god, and they're caught in this net, and they gotta do this other stuff, and it's great to see the characters together. The whole thing with Luke and Leia being brother and sister, it felt like they wanted another I'm your father, so now they're related too. It's like, okay. I have a feeling Luke is... It feels like something Luke is pulled out of his ass. Actually, now that I think about it, sorry, I was wrong. Empire Strikes Back, yeah, there is that moment where they're together. Very briefly, though. Because Han Solo rescues him, and then he's healed up, and then Leia kisses him. So, forgive me. There's that one scene. So, they are together in that. I don't know why that slipped my mind. Because to be honest, I haven't seen these films. So I guess... Empire Strikes Back, I guess I did watch less than the other two, to be honest. Just like Star Wars Return of the Jedi, I kind of watch on their own. Just I like watching movies that have like an ending to it. Just to me, that's like the most important part of it. Like, I like Matrix Reloaded, but not many times I watched that by itself. I don't know. I'm going over it. So yeah, I forgot about that. So I apologize. I screwed that up. So I'd be like, what the fuck you talking about? Yeah, I did it now. I did it now. Okay, I was wrong. I fucked up, but I did mention it now. So there's a scene. But there's more in Return of the Jedi with those characters together. But the bit is like, well, okay, if George Lucas knew that Luke and Leia were brother and sister, why would he have her kiss him on the mouth? You don't think people would think back, oh, that's fucking weird. Oh, holy shit, you guys kissed. I do like the lightsaber battle at the end between Luke and Vader. I especially love the piece of music, the choir type of music. It might be my favorite music in all the Star Wars films. When Luke is pissed and swing his lightsaber. I like the fact it's so dark and it's illuminated by the lightsabers. It gives a nice mood and atmosphere to it. I like that they didn't kill off Han Solo. I know Harrison Ford wanted that, but I'm glad they didn't. It has a nice ending. I like the battle that Billy D. Williams just to go into the Death Star and blow it up is a great moment for Lando. He had a bit more to do, to accomplish. Thought that was really cool, pretty badass. The Billy D. Williams to do. Like I said, the battle with the Ewoks, I think originally it was supposed to be Wookiees, but I guess they couldn't find that many tall people or something. I don't know. They changed it to this. If it was Wookiees, I think people would have appreciated more and probably would have not been as hard on it. But yeah, the fact that people think there's going to be much more dire circumstances, which there are, but because the Ewoks a bit cutesy, I just see why people would be a bit let down by the third one. But I always liked it. Again, it's my second favorite Star Wars movie, so I'll put it right after the first one. Now, The Phantom Menace. You know what? I'm actually going to add something. And I'm just going to put... Let's put... just that. Because it's hard for me to call it good, but I'm going to put it right there. If I'm being honest, at the end of the day, when I really look at The Phantom Menace, I do not hate The Phantom Menace. I don't. I don't hate The Phantom Menace. I do think it is the best of the Star Wars prequels. I do think it's better than any of the Disney Star Wars movies. I think Ewan McGregor does a good job as Obi-Wan. I think Liam Neeson does perfectly fine as Qui-Gon Jinn. There are at least some practical stuff. Yes, there's CG and doesn't hold up, but there's a decent amount of practical stuff in that too. Darth Maul is a very cool villain that should have been kept in that trilogy more of those prequels. They should not have killed him off so damn quickly. Because he said such a great, unique look. The music. It's the last Star Wars John Williams score that I thought was really neat and that really stood out. Because I can't remember the music in the other Star Wars after that. But I do remember Duel of the Fates. It has arguably... I mean, Return of the Jedi is my favorite lightsaber battle, more for the emotion. But if we're talking choreography, the Phantom Menace has the best lightsaber fights. Whether it be Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon just going through the droids throughout the film, or the fight they had with Darth Maul, which is a pretty badass fight. So you could argue it has the best fight scene in any of the Star Wars films. And I did Duel of the Fates is easily one of the best pieces of music in any of the Star Wars films. Jar Jar Binks, I didn't hate like other people did. I think when I first saw it, I thought, oh, he's kind of cute, and, you know. I mean, I wasn't a kid, but, you know, I wasn't as cynical as I am today. Which, that's not fair. You don't have to be cynical to dislike Jar Jar. I just see why people didn't like him. I can. I didn't. He just didn't annoy me as much as it did other people. But I can understand it. Jake Lloyd annoyed me more, and I'm not going to go too harsh on Jake Lloyd because I know he went through a lot. He just his opportunity of a lifetime. Phantom Menace was the most hyped film in history, let's be honest. I mean, it made national news. People were in line for months. I have two fucking documentaries, Starweight and Star Wars, that are about those movie lines. I think one was for the first movie, Phantom Menace, and one was for Attack of the Clones. I think Starweight was that. So, I mean, these movies were pretty hyped. Cool to see Sam Jackson in them. The Yoda looks fucking awful, though. The dialogue is very cringy. Natalie Portman, you definitely don't... You can't tell she's a good actress in those movies because she's not directed that well. She's good in other stuff, but not in those. And why do we give a shit about politics, the political shenanigans going on with the Senate and for the Star Wars movie? Which is weird because George Lucas kept saying, it's a kid's film, it's a kid's film. Yep, that's why you talked about all these trade tariffs and taxes and all this other shit at the beginning of episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Just a bunch of kids that don't know what the fuck that means and care. But yeah, Jake Lloyd, I'll just say this. I know he went through a lot of stuff and troubles. I'm glad he's doing better. I just was not a fan of his performance. I'll put it that way. Did not like Jake Lloyd. But again, if I'm... Like the beginning of the film, I like, Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor. I like the way they worked together. I like them being badasses as Jedi, kicking ass, taking names. The pod race, I thought, looked kind of cool. The fight at the end with lightsabers, a lot of fun. Darth Maul looks really cool. Duel of the Fates, great piece of music. There's a lot more positive I could say about The Phantom Menace. So... Attack of the Clones, I'm going to put worse than dog shit. I think that film sucks. Attack of the Clones, I think, is a piece of shit. I always thought it was a piece of shit. Hayden Christensen sucks. He cannot act for shit. Natalie Portman still is not able to break out of the shitty dialogue. I don't like sand. That was Hayden Christensen's territory. Fine, I'm going to put it up your ass. Make you like it. Fuck. You know what? I don't like sand either, but you don't hear me complaining. So shut the fuck up. Didn't know that Darth Vader was a pussy before he became Darth Vader. But Hayden Christensen made him seem like an emo bitch pussy. I don't think the story was that exciting. Ewan McGregor was good. The action scenes, I thought they went heavily, much more into CGI with that. Much more into CGI. Much, much more. And just it lost a bit of the tangibleness that the other films had. The music, I'm not going to say the music's bad, but there's nothing new that I can remember that stuck out like Duel of the Fates did in The Phantom Menace. And I like Christopher Lee, but if you watch that nowadays and him and Yoda jumping around and it just looks goofy, I know people praise, yeah, Yoda's jumping around, but it looks goofy when you watch. He's like a fucking jumping bean, goddamn leprechaun, fucking leaping frog. It's like, I did it. It's Yoda. You want to see him with a lightsaber? Okay, I did it. And Yoda looks better here than he did in The Phantom Menace. But it's like... the bit with the, what was that, assembly line thing that Anakin and Padme had to go through and not get crushed, and all those shitty looking insects and the Jedi, didn't give a shit about any of that. I really didn't. Honestly, the only thing I cared about was Ewan McGregor. When Ewan McGregor was with those aliens looking at the Clone Wars, I liked the design of those aliens. And then Obi-Wan dealing with Jango Fett. A little bit of fight they had. I thought that was kind of fun. That was kind of entertaining. But yeah, other than that, that's the only thing I could think of. The rest I thought was just a boring story. Hayden Christensen gave a god-awful fucking performance. Emo bitch type of performance. The love story angle was worse than dog shit. Hence, that's why it fits in there. So, fuck that movie. What do I think about Revenge of the Sith? That's how, that's a film, when I first saw it, I might have reviewed it and I felt the same way, where I'm like, yeah. And then the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, I went, you know what? I don't like this movie that much. Hayden Christensen still fucking sucks. The Darth Vader no really rubs me the wrong way. The fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin is like okay, but the backdrop with all the fucking lava and all the CGI does not really hold up that well when you watch it again. Unlike if you watch the Phantom Menace fight between Obi-Wan and Ray Park, I think that still holds up very well. But between those, I liked Ewan McGregor. I liked, was it General Grievous and that whole battle. I didn't mind that. Although when Obi-Wan's riding that shitty looking CG creature, that does look pretty bad. And just so many bits, like the bit with the Emperor, and when he turns and like Sam Jackson's dead and all of a sudden he just crumples and he turns, just something about that felt really anticlimactic, or felt like Okay, so that's how he turns to the dark side, and it was an accident, and he didn't mean to kill him, but then it's like, oh, now I accepted my fate. And it's just, I don't know. I never, unless it was a request, I never cared to watch that film again, if that makes sense. The only prequel I could watch is Phantom Menace. Now again, I'll put it over Disney Star Wars, but yeah, I'm not a big Revenge of the Sith fan. I try to give it a pass from time to time, but no. I guess we save those for last. Well, Solo, we'll put that worse than Dodge. Well, let's actually put that here. Solo, you can't see him anymore. You seen Guardians of the Galaxy? You want to know how it looks if it sucks? That's a way to look at it. Bad, production history where it was going to be directed by a group of people and they did direct it, but then they were fired or whatever. Then Ron Howard came in, reshot stuff, reworked stuff. You could tell for being a Solo origin story, it wasn't that eventful. It wasn't that memorable. It wasn't that fun. And it's not something people were really asking for. So I can't say anymore because I don't remember the fucking film. Rogue One, I'll put worse than dog shit. I know people praise Rogue One, they love Rogue One, they defend Rogue One. As I call it, rim job 1. One and done. Which I think I've only seen it one time, so there you go. The characters I thought were bland and boring as fuck. The story was not that interesting because I don't give a fuck about how they got the plans to the Death Star. And even then, it wasn't really that much of an intricate heist. They grabbed it, they left, they died. The end. The characters, I don't find that interesting. I'm going to repeat that because it bears repeating. Looks good visually. I don't think it's the effects wise, I don't think it's bad looking. Donnie Yen is wasted. And he does get killed off. Everybody dies. It just felt like a completely pointless film. Completely fucking pointless. With a really bad CGI Terry Fisher at the end. I think they also had a really bad CG Peter Cushing as well. The two other things I remember is the trailer that had like a bunch of scenes that were not in the movie. And the Darth Vader scene where he comes out and kills everybody. People praise that. I will admit, that was a cool looking scene. It was a cool looking scene. The show Vader killing everybody, taking names, not giving a fuck. I mean, if he's a guy that killed kids in Revenge of the Sith, why would he give a fuck? It's okay. That's like 30 seconds. 30 seconds in like a 2-hour movie. This one, I gotta move it because it goes into yes, that's how much I like The Mandalorian season 1 and 2. Nowadays I'm not big on Pedro Pascal, but I did think he did a good job in those 2 seasons. I liked the story of the 2 seasons. The second one had a little bit more flaws. I actually do want to rewatch that because I have the physical copies over there. I would like to sit down and rewatch them. I still haven't seen the third one because I've heard bad things about it. If it's requested, sure, but man, to taint that stuff. But I mean, I did like the action set pieces. I did like some of the performances, I thought the Baby Yoda did look cute. Yeah, Carl Weathers, rest in peace. He's the man. Love Carl Weathers. Gina Carano was good in it before they fired her. So I did quite like the first 2 seasons of Mandalorian. So I really, truly was surprised by it. I was impressed by it. So I do really like it. Okay. So I'm trying to think, like, if I put him, this is like the least worst dog shit, and then the most worst dog shit. So I'm kind of like, that's how I'm ranking it when it's multiple. So we know where this is going. Let's just put you all there. There you go. Worse than AIDS. The Disney Star Wars trilogy. Force Awakens I thought sucked back in 2015. I had a video. Sadly, the video's gone. I wish that video was still up. But I hated it back then. I remember many people saying I was crazy. You're crazy. You just hate everything. What are you talking about? And I said in that video, again, I wish that video. What I said back then in if you follow my channel, you know you know. If you know, you know. If you don't, and people don't believe me, the people will tell you, yes, I'm not one of these, oh, I hate it after the fact. I hated it back then when it first came out. I'm like, why are these people praising it? If you liked it, that's fine. But I don't get what they're saying. I don't get what they mean by this. Because it's a remake of Star Wars A New Hope. The character of Rey, didn't find that interesting. Finn, before John Boyega wanted to spout his mouth and say, oh, these racist white Star Wars fans. Motherfucker, we liked your character. We didn't like that they treated your character like shit. Or put a Chinese poster where they took you off the poster. Because apparently China, some against black people. But that's what Disney did. They took you off the poster. The idea of you being a stormtrooper and maybe becoming a Jedi, that could be cool. No, instead they made you into a trash man. Garbage man. And then in this Last Jedi, you... oh my god, I got all this shit on me. Bumble, 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 fuck, bumble. Why is the goddamn Monty Python skit? Benny Hill music playing. What the fuck? But yeah, it's the fans' fault. Fuck you, John Boyega, you dumb fuck. Adam Driver, I didn't give a shit about Kylo Ren. I didn't think he was that cool of a villain. All it did was repeat and retread the first movie. Instead of a farmer boy, it's a farmer girl who thinks they're meant for something more. Get to Millennium Falcon. Meet Han Solo. You even have the Death Star, but you have a bigger Death Star. The way they treated Han Solo, where he was a deadbeat dad, and he's had the Millennium Falcon stolen from him yet again. Then he fucking dies and is thrown into the trash. We know Harrison Ford hates Han Solo, so he got his wish. Leaves a bad taste in fans' mouth. I thought it was very lazy. It wasn't that creative. I never understood the love for it. I never did. The Rise of Skywalker, as I called The Rise of Shitwalker, I think that review is still up, I think. Hated it. Hated the movie. It's like they're trying to fix The Last Jedi, but then they're trying to tell their own story, and they could not tell both at the same time. Shit just happens, MacGuffins are here, you have Jedi can now heal people, remarkably. You think that power would have been better used in, I don't know, the Phantom Menace? to bring Qui-Gon Jinn back to life, or all this other shit you could have done. But literally, like, to bring, was a Kylo Ren back? Like, what the fuck? Kylo Ren seeing the ghost or whatever of Han Solo, and just so much of that fucking shit in that movie, man. What was that one thing, like, I remember there's a point they ride horses. I'm like, you ain't fucking Kroll from the 80s? What the fuck, dude? You ain't Kroll. Fuck off. And then the Emperor didn't even die in Return of the Jedi. He's still alive, or it's a clone of him, or what the fuck he was. And all the Jedi are for Rey, and Rey is related to Emperor Palpatine, I guess, but she calls herself a Skywalker. Like, fuck all this fucking shit. Stupid. Fucking stupid. And The Last Jedi, The Last Shithead, what more can be said about that? Much, much worse than AIDS. Luke Skywalker becomes a prick. Which is funny because Mark Hamill in real life has become a prick. Throwing lightsabers, not giving a shit, getting titty milk from animals and dumping it down his throat. Having his big moment being a fake out and draining his life like power from a battery. His battery life is done, so he disappeared. Luke Skywalker became a loser that ran away when his friends needed his help. Ran away when the whole fucking galaxy was going up the shit creek without a paddle. He just ran away to live on a place by himself with a finger up his ass. And because he was scared of Kylo Ren, so he tries to kill a kid. The same character that stood toe-to-toe with his own fucking father, Darth fucking Vader, and said, I can believe in him. I will not kill you. I won't strike you down. I'm a Jedi. Let my father be before me. So he wouldn't kill Darth Vader in front of the Emperor when his friends and the whole rebel, could be destroyed. All that pressure. But one little dream, he's ready to kill his fucking nephew. It's just so fucking stupid and dumb and didn't make any sense at fucking all. And the shit they build, like Finn, yeah, that's when he's bumming around and blah, 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 and then going, and that, I forget what that fat Asian lady's name was. I didn't give a shit about her. Her character sucked. Her character was shit. Finn is ready to save his friends. She bumps him. I'm like, what if Luke didn't appear? What if that machine killed everybody? Then what? What, little lady? What are you gonna do? It's just the fucking... The whole subplot where they go to a fucking casino? Why? Why? The Rey Luke train bits, Jesus. Bull and shit. Not much of anything. And that's the thing, like Kylo Ren hates the mask, wants to get rid of the mask, but in the next one he puts the mask back on. I did so much of Rise of Skywalker is like, let's go back from what fucking Last Jedi said. And it's just such a stupid fucking thing. Like, well, I tried something different. You know what's different? Let's take Aliens. And let's make it a buddy cop movie where a xenomorph and a predator are buddy cops, like 48 hours. And they go on a intergalactic journey to catch a predator, Chris Hansen style. I mean, And they banter back and forth, and the alien goes, and each time it does it, his fucking double jaws go. That's different too, but you think people will like that? I would see it, but I think most people fucking hate it. It's stupid shit. So, being different is not automatically a good thing. It's not a bulletproof vest, Freddy. You're not bulletproof just because you're different. You want the same thing? Just don't make any more fucking movies. That means you don't have any more stories to tell. Or you know what? The Mandalorian season, that did it fairly well. Different direction. What an awful trilogy that was, man. You can make your argument that is the worst trilogy in film history. I don't even know what trilogy could beat that for worst trilogy. That'd be very tough. I don't know. Yeah, that might be the worst trilogy in film history. But there you go. Disney trilogy worse than AIDS. And there you go there. Classic Star Wars Mandalorian, Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, and the rest. So there you go. So thanks to Aaron for the request. Thank you guys for watching. Take care everyone. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye for now.